Mariam is the embodiment of the starvation in Gaza City. She is 9 years old and weighs just 9 kilograms. Her family are displaced, their stomachs empty.
Mariam began showing signs of malnutrition while we were in Rafah. At the time, the hunger wasn't as severe as it is now. Because of the extreme starvation we're facing now, she lost even more weight.
At a malnutrition clinic in Gaza City, they're measuring emaciated limbs. Today, the internationally recognized threshold for famine has been formally met here. 1 in 5 people with extreme food shortages, 1 in 3 children acutely malnourished, and 2 in 10,000 people dying from lack of food.
Be in no doubt that this is irrefutable testimony. It is a famine. The Gaza famine. It is a famine that we could have prevented if we had been allowed. Yet food stacks up at borders because of systematic obstruction by Israel. It is a famine within a few hundred meters of food in a fertile land. It is a famine that hits the most vulnerable first, each with a name, each with a story, that strips people of dignity before it strips them of life.
Famine has been declared for the Gaza Governorate, which includes Gaza City. In this part of Gaza alone, 280,000 people are facing catastrophic starvation, destitution and death. The IPC believes the situation is even worse in North Gaza, which has been under intense Israeli attack, but it couldn't collect the data it needs. It also says Deir al-Balah and Khan Yunis will soon formally be in famine too, almost the whole of Gaza. Over the next year, it says, 132,000 children under 5 are expected to suffer from acute malnutrition, including over 41,000 severe cases of children at heightened risk of death. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has repeatedly claimed there is no hunger or starvation in Gaza, and his government's response today was to claim there was no famine either, despite the IPC's detailed evidence-based report. Famine has only been declared 4 times previously since this monitoring started in 2004. In Somalia in 2011, in South Sudan in 2017 and 2020, in Sudan in 2024, and now the Gaza City region in 2025, the first time famine has been declared outside of Africa. The IPC's damning assessment is that this catastrophe is entirely man-made. Israel controls the aid flows. And this is the result. Central Gaza yesterday, a scramble for aid parcels. While the UN says more than 1,400 people have been killed waiting for food at sites run by the Israel-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Israel's defense minister today pledged to raise Gaza City if Hamas doesn't agree to its ceasefire terms. Strikes continued overnight and into the day. Residents of this makeshift camp waking to find some neighbours dead and others displaced. Bodies were brought to the Al-Shifa hospital, including those of children. And so many are trying to escape the north of Gaza City, fleeing Abu Iskandar and Jabalia areas after days of airstrikes and Israeli evacuation warnings. And all the while, hunger looms over lives here and delivers yet more death. Well, a few minutes ago, we heard the loud thuds of the Iron Dome, and you may have seen the intercept missiles behind me. We are trying to verify and get more detail, but the IDF said in a post on social media just a minute or two ago that sirens sounding across several areas in Israel following Houthi projectile fire from Yemen. Now, earlier I spoke to UNICEF spokesperson Tess Ingram, who is currently in Al-Mawasi in Gaza. I began by asking her what she is personally seeing on the ground there.
I've spent a lot of time in the last 48 hours at UNICEF-supported nutrition treatment points, and I was shocked by what I saw. This is the 4th time I've been in Gaza since the conflict began, and it is the worst I have ever seen. I had mothers holding my hand, crying, saying that they are watching their children die. I had one father just repeating to me, I am shocked, because his son had just been diagnosed with malnutrition, and he's losing vision in his right eye. I met a little girl who's 14 months old, who weighs half of what she should at that age. She's just 5 kilograms.
And that is why they expect the famine to spread to basically cover the whole of Gaza, because you're in an area right now that hasn't even formally been declared as being in famine yet.
That's right. The classification today was for Gaza City in the north. These treatment places that I visited were in Deir al-Balah, which is one of the places where the experts have said that famine will spread to in the coming weeks if conditions don't change.
It's been described by much of the world today as a man-made famine. What are the absolute key drivers from where you are that's causing this?
This is engineered scarcity. The volume of aid that is coming in is still a drop in the ocean. And we have an ocean of need, so we really need far more. We're seeing dozens of trucks when we need 500 to 600. That is the reality. So claims that aid is entering the Gaza Strip at scale are not true.
How much aid is sitting there meters away from Gaza waiting to get in?
UNICEF has hundreds of trucks ready to enter the Gaza Strip, as do other UN agencies. Those trucks should be on the other side of the crossing. And another challenge that we have is when they are on the other side of the crossing, we often have challenges getting the access to collect them from the crossing. We need permission to go there and pick them up. And we do not always get that at the speed or scale that we need to, given the crisis that we have on our hands. So it's a double-edged sword. It's like a game of snakes and ladders. Every time we take a step forward, we face another barrier. And it is children's lives that are really bearing the brunt of that.
Do you believe that you are seeing there the militarization of aid, in that Israel is locating aid in locations that it wants to force the population to move to for its war aims?
The United Nations has been very clear that we will not participate in the non-UA distribution sites that are in the militarized zone and that have militarized personnel around them. The result of that system that has been established is clear. It's dangerous. A number of children have been killed and injured while trying to go there to get the basics that they need to survive. That is not how aid should be delivered, and that is not how the United Nations delivers aid.
Do you think that this declaration of famine today will make any difference in terms of the Israeli response in letting aid through?
I think that depends on what the international community does in response. This is a robust piece of evidence from a group of global experts who are highly regarded and have used the methodology that they use in other contexts around the world. To us, this is irrefutable evidence of a famine, and I hope the international community and world leaders take it with that same weight, because so far we have failed Gaza's children. I have met mothers who have told me they are watching their children die. So if there was a moment to act, it is now.
The Israeli government has already responded to this declaration of famine. It said there is no famine. So what do you say then to the Israeli government today?
There is a famine, and we can have a war of words, and we have been for almost 2 years. There has been an information war waged as well as the war on the ground. But I hope that your listeners and other people will take their responsibility as witnesses to this seriously. But to us on the ground and to the people that we're serving, it is clear and simple, there is a famine.
Tess Ingram, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Well, for an insight into the growing crisis facing people in Gaza, we've been sent pictures from one of the hospitals still working in Gaza City, where staff in the neonatal unit are doing their best to treat malnourished babies in appalling conditions. We should warn you, there are distressing images in Zara Wassami's report.
A newborn should be a reason to celebrate. But in this hospital in Gaza City, there is no joy.
ينظروا لنا بعين الرحمة يعني ينظروا لأولادنا.
Nora is just a few weeks old. Her grandmother took her to this hospital because Nora's mother is too malnourished to breastfeed her newborn and too weak to sit by her side.
نديها الحليب الصناعي لأنه إمها فيش عندها استعداد إنها ترضع من سوء التغذية اللي هي فيه. إجينا بالنسبة للحالة تبعتها إنه هي حالتها صعبة، في عندها التهابات بالشعب الهوائية، وهذا نتيجة الحياة الظروف الصعبة اللي إحنا فيها. زي هيك من سوء التغذية اللي عندها صارت.
The UN warns the shortage in baby formula and food will push more children into starvation. And relatives in this hospital know if the mothers can't eat, neither will their babies.
والله لحتى الآن ما وفرنا له، ويعني هاي فيها سفر وإلا من الصبح بعد، من الصبح اللي بعد.
Famine has now been declared in Gaza City, where the Patients' Friends Benevolent Society Hospital is located. Over the last 2 years, Gaza's healthcare system has been destroyed by Israeli bombardment. And the Benevolent Hospital was not spared. Operating rooms, oxygen stations and electrical supplies have been damaged repeatedly. Israel's aid restrictions has also resulted in severe shortage of specialised milk and medical supplies. Doctors at the Benevolent Hospital say children are dying of malnutrition.
بفرجيكم مثلا عندنا بعض الحالات اللي بيكون واضح عليها سوء التغذية بشكل كبير.
Jannah Ayad is 8 years old. Her malnutrition is severe. Staff say she needs to be evacuated for urgent care. Her 1-year-old sister Juri died at this hospital because of hunger. Her mother says, "I can't bear to lose my second daughter." Israeli authorities say they're not restricting aid, but 1 in every 10 children in Gaza is malnourished. Aid workers from Save the Children say some mothers had zero access to food in North Gaza.
They were taking desperate and dehumanizing measures to feed their children because they had no access to aid. So one mother was telling me how she was feeding her children animal feed, trying to make some sort of dough with that animal feed to make bread that she would cut up into pieces to feed her 4 children.
If these children were growing up elsewhere, they would be laughing and playing with their friends. But instead, they're struggling for every breath.
Well, earlier I spoke to Gideon Levy, a columnist for Israel's Haaretz newspaper. I asked him how Israelis are reacting to the UN's unprecedented report confirming famine in Gaza.
As you can imagine yourself, first of all, it was hardly mentioned. The problem of Israeli media those days, ever since the war started, is not its political views or standings. It's its professional commitment. And they don't cover Gaza, and they don't cover reports like this. It's now too early to judge, I guess. And if you will follow Israeli outlets, most of them, the mainstream outlets, you will hardly know that there is starvation in Gaza. You will hardly know that 20,000 children were killed. You will hardly see the scenes.
Do the Israeli public know that there has been starvation in Gaza for weeks and months and that children are dying?
Most of the Israelis live in denial and deny it. I can see even when I show them images to some of my friends, the first reaction will be, oh, it's AI. Oh, it's fake. Oh, it's from Afghanistan. It's not from Sudan. This is not from Gaza. The reaction is denying as much as they can.
So is this a moment where that could change? Because this is an internationally recognized body. It's the world body that monitors famine.
It will be labeled immediately, and it was already by the government, as anti-Semitic organizations who spread lies and propaganda against Israel.
Why do you think people here choose to believe Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who says there is no starvation, over much of the rest of the world that says there is?
It is very hard to admit that your government, your state, your army is committing a genocide. it is very hard to digest. The sons of your friends and the friends of your sons are committing those crimes against humanity in Gaza. It's very hard to live with it. What do you do with it? It's your state, and it is a democracy. It's not like a tyranny which the tyrant decides. We are all partners in this project.
That's not the view of everyone in Israel, is it? There are people who speak up. There are people who protest.
Listen to the protest, and I have a lot of appreciation to the protest and to the protesters. They are talking about two things: releasing the hostages, bringing them home, which is obviously a holy mission, and getting rid of Netanyahu, which is also very important. You will hear very little about the genocide, about the starvation in Gaza. It's not that you will not hear, but only the margins.
If it's not international bodies saying there is famine, if it's not the accusations of genocide, if it's not Benjamin Netanyahu being wanted for arrest in the International Criminal Court, what will change minds?
So there is still hope that some accumulative effects will be, that there will be a stage in which denial will be not relevant or will be impossible. And obviously the real magic will be a phone call by Donald Trump to stop the war. If he does so, within hours, the war is over.
So that's a pretty bleak assessment you've given us. I'm sensing that you don't think that anything is going to change dramatically in Israeli public opinion anytime soon.
More than this, I think the damages of the last 2 years, at least part of them, are irreversible. The Israeli society is a different society after those 2 years, and not for the good. And I'm not sure that all those wounds will be healed soon.
Israel is still a democracy, and you choose your own government, and this is the government that the people of Israel have chosen.
You know, South Africa was also a democracy for its white citizens. Israel is a democracy for its Jewish citizens. There are 7 million Palestinians who live under the rule of Israel and have no rights, or at least partial rights. It's very problematic to define Israel as a democracy.
Gideon Levy, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.